Janice Combs, mother of Sean Diddy Combs, publicly defended her son amidst serious allegations, including she expressed her anguish over what she perceives as a public lynching based on lies, stating that her son deserves the opportunity to present his side in court. Janice acknowledged Diddy's past mistakes, but emphasized that not being fully truthful does not equate to guilt for the current allegations. She criticized the rush to judgment against him, calling for compassion and understanding from the public. Tupac Shakur's family has hired attorney Alex Spiro to investigate possible links between Sean Diddy Combs and the rapper's murder in 1996. Spiro, a Harvard Law graduate known for representing high-profile clients like Alec Baldwin, aims to delve into long-standing rumors surrounding Diddy's alleged involvement. This investigation represents a significant development in the ongoing quest for answers regarding Tupac's untimely death.
So Tupac's family is investigating Diddy's alleged involvement in his murder. Hey, it's Asia Sky for Hip Hop DX, and check this out. Tupac's family has reportedly decided to investigate the rumors that Diddy was involved in the late rapper's murder. On Monday, July 29th, TMZ reported that some of Pac's relatives retained a team of investigators and lawyers Alex Spiro and Christopher Cole to look into the recently resurfaced claim from Keefe D that Puff offered to pay him to kill Pac in the 90s. Keefe D claimed in a police interview in 2009 that Diddy offered him $1 million to kill both Suge Knight and Tupac at the height of Bad Boy's beef with Death Row Records in the mid-1990s and paid half the money to Harlem gangster Eric Von Zip Martin after Pac's 1996 murder. In a legal filing obtained by The Sun this week ahead of Keefe's trial later this year, prosecutors claim that the former Compton Crip flew to New York with LAPD detectives months after the interview as a part of a plan to obtain evidence against the Bad Boy mogul and Martin. Prosecutors say that Keefe became an active confidential informant for the task force initially set up to investigate Biggie's murder after he was caught trafficking a large amount of drugs. The 179-page document states that the former gang member, along with officers from the task force, flew to New York City in a bid to corroborate the conspiracy to kill Tupac. Diddy was never charged at the time, but now Pac's family wants to look into things and see if there's anything there. Should they find anything, they plan to pursue criminal charges. Back in 2011, Diddy denied any involvement in the killing, telling LA Weekly that Keefe D's story was pure fiction and completely ridiculous. So, what are your thoughts on Tupac's family investigating Diddy's alleged involvement in Tupac's murder? Let us know in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and keep it locked to Hip Hop DX.
My son, Sean Combs. It is heartbreaking to see my son judged not for the truth but for the narrative created out of lies. Bear witness what seems to be like a public lynching of my son before he has had his opportunity to prove his innocence is a pain too unbearable to put into words. Like every other human, my son deserves to have his day in court and finally share his side and prove his innocence. I need her to be so fucking for real, but let's continue. I'm not here to portray that my son is perfect because he is not. He has made mistakes in his past as we all have. My son may have not been entirely truthful about certain things, just deny he has ever gotten violent with an ex-girlfriend, and the hotel surveillance showed otherwise. Sometimes the truth and the lie become so closely intertwined that it becomes terrifying to admit one part of the story, especially when that truth is outside of the norm or too complicated to be believed. That's why I believe my son's legal team opted to settle the ex-girlfriend's lawsuit instead of contesting it until the end, resulting in a ricochet effect as the federal government used a decision against my son by interpreting it as an admission of guilt. It is important to recognize that none of us, regardless of our status, are immune of fear or mistakes. Not being entirely straightforward about one issue does not mean my son is guilty of the repulsive allegations and the grave charges leveled against him. Many individuals who were wrongfully convicted and later exonerated had their freedom taken from them, not because they were guilty of the crimes they were accused of, but because they didn't fit the image of what society considers to be a good person. History has showed us how individuals can be wrongfully convicted due to their actions or mistakes. I'm gonna need her to be so for real because her son is guilty of sin, okay? That is just the truth.
Diddy's mom, Janice Combs, has officially released a statement. So Janice says, I come to you today as a mother that is devastated and profoundly saddened by the allegations made against my son, Sean Combs. It is heartbreaking to see my son judged not for the truth, but for a narrative created out of lies, to bear witness what seems to be like a public lynching of my son before he has had the opportunity to prove his innocence is a pain too unbearable to put into words. Like every human being, my son deserves to have his day in court, to finally share his side and to prove his innocence. I am not here to portray my son as perfect because he is not. He has made mistakes in his past, as we all have. My son may not have been entirely truthful about certain things, such as denying he has ever gotten violent with his ex-girlfriend, there we go, when the hotel surveillance showed otherwise. Sometimes the truth and a lie become so closely intertwined that it becomes terrifying to admit one part of the story, especially when that truth is outside the norm or is too complicated to be believed. This is why I believe my son's civil legal team opted to settle the ex-girlfriend's lawsuit instead of contesting it until the end, resulting in a ricochet effect as the federal government used the decisions against my son by interpreting it as an admission of guilt. It is important to recognize that none of us, regardless of our stature, are immune to fear or mistakes. Not being entirely straightforward about one issue does not mean my son is guilty of the repulsive allegations and the grave charges leveled against him. Many individuals who were wrongfully convicted and later exonerated had their freedom taken from them, not because they were guilty of the crimes they were accused of, but because they didn't fit the image of what this society considers to be a good person. History has showed us how individuals can wrongfully convicted due to their past actions or mistakes. Watching the world make jokes and laugh at my son's life crumbling before our eyes is something I can never forget. It is truly agonizing to watch the world turn against my son so quickly and easily over lies and misconceptions, without ever hearing his side or affording him the opportunity to present his side. These lies thrown at him are motivated by those seeking a financial gain and not justice. These individuals saw how quickly my son's civil legal team settled his ex-girlfriend's lawsuit, so they believed they can receive a quick payday for falsely accusing my son. Your son's lawsuit with his ex is because he was dead fucking wrong of what he did. Sorry, all right? Your son, what he did to Cassie is disgusting. That is why they settled. That is why he didn't have a pot to piss in. I'm so sorry, girl. But after what he did to Cassie, I'm not going to feel bad for nobody. Anywho, this injustice has been unbearable to make matters. Okay.